Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to tackle about sustainable agriculture and sustainable living. At the end of this chapter, the student should be able to explain what sustainable agriculture is and discuss how science and technology are used in sustainable agriculture and identify where food comes from and how it was produced. Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to tackle about sustainable agriculture and sustainable living. At the end of this chapter, the student should be able to explain. The Philippines is primarily an agricultural country with over 7,100 islands rich in natural resources. There should be no reason for people to go hungry or experience food insecurity. This is, however, not the case when our country still resorts to importing rice, fruits, and other food crops that we can very well produce. It must be recognized that our flourishing as individuals and as a nation starts with sustenance that comes from the food we eat, food harvested from our lands and waters. Such production of food from the cultivation of lands and growing of livestock is agriculture. Sustainable agriculture is the practice of farming that takes care of the environment so that needs of future generation may still be met. Using toxic chemicals to kill plant pests may protect the plants only in the short term. This practice will eventually poison the soil and make it unsuitable for future cultivation of crops. Consumption of chemically sprayed food crops is harmful to the human body. This is not sustainable agriculture. Sustainability means that we can meet our present needs like food, clothing, and shelter without compromising our health, the environment, and the needs of future generations.
How do you make a farm or ranch more sustainable? There's no single answer, but there are common practices used by producers across the country to improve profitability, quality of life, and environmental stewardship. In this episode, let's look at what it means to be sustainable and how this looks across an entire farm or ranch. Farmers and ranchers who prioritize sustainability aim to produce enough food, fuel, and fiber to meet today's needs without compromising our ability to do so tomorrow. While we use different practices that work best on our unique farms and ranches, we all share this same vision. We also view our farm or ranch as a holistic system, and we look for ways to improve our farm's overall health and resilience. So, practices that are considered sustainable should meet 4 criteria. They're productive, they're profitable, they enhance the quality and abundance of our natural resources, and they improve quality of life for our families and communities. We find ways to work with nature when raising crops and livestock by focusing on things like biodiversity, soil health, ecological pest management, and water conservation. We use practices like crop rotation, cover crops, rotational grazing, and locally adapted breeds and resistant varieties. We lower our use of tillage and chemical inputs as much as possible. Sustainable practices are also profitable, usually because they improve our efficiency with resources. We're creating a productive growing environment that uses fewer purchased inputs. We strive to be good marketers, and we seek out value-added strategies to increase profits. We sell our products through multiple channels and engage with communities to meet the demand for local foods and better ensure that all people can access healthy food. We need to consider the people who are growing our food too. Sustainability involves focusing on the health and well-being of ourselves, our families, and our workers. And we look to the future by actively encouraging the next generation of farmers. Farmers who prioritize sustainability are always trying to find new ways to solve problems and build resilient systems. That's why many of us collaborate with our peers and extension professionals to conduct on-farm research. There's much more to learn about sustainable agriculture. Start exploring today.
The process of science and technology does not just involve the rise of sophisticated computer system that allows us to get instant information online or post stuff on social media. The process of science and technology also entails that we know and can grow our crops and livestock in the best possible ways that are healthy to the environment and ourselves, profitable to the growers or farmers, and contributory to just and prosperous society. When we choose to consume chemical sprayed bananas produced in a plantation whose owners do not care that their workers are exposed to these toxic chemicals on top of giving them very small compensation for their labor, we violate the principle of sustainability. The principle of sustainability express virtue that is characteristic of a good life. Science and technology must be used in service of sustainability that we may live in a flourishing society. In recent decades, sustainable farmers and researchers around the world have responded to extractive industrial model with ecology-based approaches, variously called natural, organic, low input, alternative, regenerative, holistic, biodynamic, biointensive, and biological farming system. All of them, representing thousands of farms, have contributed to our understanding of what sustainable systems are, and each of them shared a vision of farming with nature, an agroecology that promotes biodiversity, recycles plant nutrients, protects soil from erosion, conserves and protects water, uses minimum tillage, and integrates crop and livestock enterprise on the farm.
Science will inform us about the best crops most suitable in certain climates and the soil conditions. Technology will help us harvest crops with the best possible yield. For instance, an efficient rice thresher can recover rice from palay at 90% plus yield, compared to a poorly manufactured machine that may only recover rice at 60 to 70% yield. It is therefore very important that our science and technology are also updated and upgraded, even in traditional fields like agriculture. The study of soil conditions and weather patterns, animal diseases, alternative fertilizers, and the like is crucial for the efficient production of our food and other related products. Agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Sustainable agriculture seeks to integrate three main objectives into their work: a healthy environment, economic profitability, and social and economic equity. Every person involved in the food system, growers, food processors, distributors, retailers, consumers, and waste managers, can play a role in ensuring a sustainable agriculture system. There are many practices commonly used by people working in sustainable agriculture and sustainable food systems. Growers may use methods to promote soil health, minimize water use, and lower pollution levels on the farm. Consumers and retailers concerned with sustainability can look for values-based foods that are grown using methods promoting farm worker well-being, that are environmentally friendly, or that strengthen the local economy. The COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns underscored the importance of sustainable agriculture, or at the very least, growing and producing one's own food. With the restriction, transportation, and human interactions, food insecurity became apparent. Rice and other provisions could no longer be easily imported. This really should not be an issue if we give support and priority to our agricultural sector with additional resources and government policies that seek to uplift our farmers and growers instead of importing food that we could actually grow.
There are many facets and methods to achieving sustainable agricultures. Primarily, sustainable agriculture seeks that to strive for a conservation of water and energy use, take care of no toxic chemicals are used to utilize the renewable energy and biodiversity, and operate within the rhythm of nature and limits of each natural resources. It is also important to make sure that the condition of the soil is right for the optimum crop growth. Here are a few examples of sustainable agriculture practices. Urban agriculture. Since we have a growing population that ought to live in city, there is a need to grow our food near closer to our home. Community and backyard gardening employing sustainable farming techniques may be cultivated. Rooftop farm and indoor hydroponic farm are viable options. Hydroponics is a system of growing plants without soil, but instead plants are growing in water infused with the necessary nutrients. Biodynamic farming. This involves the cultivating the farm where different species support each other to grow. For example, using of animal manure to fertilize crops, composting, and crops rotation. What is important here is that all inputs to enrich soil, feed and grow animals are all taken within the farm. All are no offset input. Use of renewable energy sources. Alternate sources, all like hydro, solar, and wind are harms for the energy farms process. Crops rotations. Crops are planted in a pattern that allows the soil to remain healthy and nutritious. It may be that help the plant for one season replenishes the nutrients and salts that were absorbed by the crops that were planted the previous season. Growing livestock humanly. Animals grow for food and treated humanly. They are kept in clean and well-ventilated area and given the method food and water. When they are slaughtered, quick and painless method are used. This prevents zoonosis or the rise of infection disease originating from animals.
Sustainable agriculture ties together practices for the good life. It entails living and doing well that is marked by excellence and happiness. Excellence in that it's employing science and technology for the best possible yields of the best possible kind with the utmost consideration for the health of humans and the environment. Happiness in that allows us to find satisfaction in cultivating things that are in harmony with the nature as we provide for the needs of society. There is a Althea in sustainable agriculture as it is the closest to us, the treasures of Mother Earth. There is a poesis in sustainable agriculture as its bringing forth of sustenance and provisions for humankind to live and flourish. All of these are brought forth by a technique that is well informed by virtuous science.